All right, what is up, everybody? This is Keith Jameson. Go back and get a guy 231 across the DFS industry. If I had a voice that was good enough to sing, I would sing you the Champions League song. But we're back. Champions League is back. I think years ago, Blender had said the best 2 hour sweat in sports. I very much agree with that, and looking forward to breaking this down for you. And I'm not going to really build much into this. So there's nothing to rant about. This isn't EPL where I missed a set piece taker or something like that. This is the first, real Champions League slate. We have 6 games, and let's jump right into it. I'm not going to be covering the early slate, only covering the main slate. And just a reminder for those that are brand new, first off, welcome. Glad you found us, and glad that you are getting into DFS soccer. You will not regret it. It is an awesome sport to play. Just to keep in mind, I am going to be operating from an optimal sense. What you should be playing cash games, single entry. If you take one shot into high stakes, where you're going, not really going to be talking about GPP leverage. I might mention some spots that I see, but, really looking at set piece takers, guys that are going to, either have really high goal scoring odds, like a Romelu Lukaku, that's probably the best way to attack Chelsea, or guys that are going to get there with or without goals. So quick reminder though, if you're new, or if you're not new and you've just been staring at a subscribe button and deciding not to hit it, do it now. It really helps. We're really close to 3,000. Would love, these next 2 UCL slates to help get us over there. It's just been a little over a year at FSI. It's been phenomenal. I'm so, as an FSI owner, I'm truly, wowed. I don't know a good word, but just about the support for the channel, for all the soccer, for all the niche sports that we're doing. So thank you for it. So subscribe, comment, all really does help get this out video out to more people learn FSI. So that's cool stuff. And finally, just the last sales plug. Let's get into it. But if you're interested in full cores for all the slates, so early showdown, it's 9:15 as I'm recording this. There's, 40 or 50 FSI soccer guys waiting on Liga MX showdown takes. So I'll get those afterwards. But we play almost everything. So we would love to join a great community of people that will help you learn the game. And that's the biggest thing. Learn to play this awesome game so we can keep growing it and make DFS soccer contest bigger. But hey, let's talk about today's, because we have some awesome, Tuesdays. We have really good prize pools for soccer for middle of the day. We have some really, really big tournaments. So let's start out. And I'm going to kind of do this in order of, really the odds and what I think is most important. Chelsea's biggest favorite on the site, minus 556. You're not going to go without a Chelsea piece, right? They're hosting Zenit. Zenit's a really good team in Russia, but Russian teams don't travel well, specifically Europe. You don't want to go to Russia. Teams have struggled doing that, but Russian teams going out of Russia typically struggle. So Zenit's a good team, but obviously the odds makers, like the reigning UCL champions, and for good reason. Chelsea's been awesome all season in England. So I'm just going to start out by saying I don't really think anybody in Zenit is in play. Wendell would likely take Wendell or Malcolm would take their set pieces. I'm sorry. Wow. Douglas Santos really takes most of their set pieces. If Malcolm is in, he'd probably split. And then you might see Wendell get over those, for our so rare people out there, Wendell scores awesome on so rare. Not so much, on DK in this format, but, he's almost stone minimum. Douglas Santos is fine. Malcolm, fine. Osmoon and Jumba, both goal dependent. Look, you're only playing Zenit for ownership, 1%, 2% owned guys. Otherwise, the ownership and the targets from this game are on the Chelsea side of things. Look, what we know about Chelsea is the moment we think that we got their set pieces figured out, we do not. All right. So how the entire season has gone thus far, it's really been whoever has been playing wingbacks are splitting sets. Reece James started both of the first 2 games before the red card versus Liverpool, and he was taking set pieces with Marcos Alonso. Marcos Alonso was a surprise, right? Had never really taken set pieces that I can remember. I have occasional free kick, but not corners until Tuchel arrives. And now he's taking half of them. Mason Mount, meanwhile, who takes the majority of them for England, who took a majority for Chelsea for a year and a half, back to his championship days for, not Swansea, Derby. And then he was in the Dutch league before, would take sets everywhere. And now all of a sudden he doesn't. So, from cash perspective, I think one of the wingbacks from Chelsea is going to be in your lineup. You very well could consider 2. I think Reece James and Marcos Alonso are arguably a little underpriced for being minus 550 favorites, splitting set pieces and advantageous crossing roles as wingbacks. But who are they crossing to? Romelu Lukaku, who, at this point, you could argue he is up there on Lewandowski's level as the best true number 9. I'm not putting Ronaldo and Messi in that discussion. Ronaldo maybe is kind of getting there, but he still likes to drift wide and do all sorts of Ronaldo stuff. Just true anchor number 9s. Lukaku and Lewandowski have to be 1-2 right now in the world, unless I'm not thinking of somebody, but I think that's the top 2. And Romelu Lukaku is a minus 556 favorite. We see the over is getting a little bit of juice here at 2.5. So closer to 3. And as a minus 556, it means the bookmakers are saying Chelsea's going to score 2 goals. If you get a goal note, this kind of what I would say, if you're going to get a goal notification and you see it's Chelsea, who are you expecting it to be? Romelu Lukaku. Would you be surprised if it's somebody else? Yeah, okay. You probably want to do Lukaku, because I think if you try to keep being cute with Chelsea and you play a Mount or you play a Kai, I love Mason Mount. He could play fantastic. He's probably good play on FanDuel, but without set pieces, his price is really prohibitive. Wouldn't you rather go to Dybala or Memphis Depay or all these other good plays in the slate versus just having to get an event-driven thing? He has to score or get an assist. Well, you might as well just spin up Lukaku, fill a forward spot, and go. So that's kind of how I'm playing it. I think Lukaku is on the cover of this. Highest goal scoring odds, I'm sure. I don't look at goal scoring odds, but I'm sure they're the highest. And you play him with a wing back, hope that you get a assist from there, and you're off. And I think that's Chelsea. And Edouard Mendy, if you have the salary, you go. I'm playing around with my builds. I'm all the way down. I'm getting one of the cheaper keepers. So, and I think typically that's what you do in Champions League. For those that always ask keeper questions, the best strategy I ever had. One of our subscribers said it. I think it was Lope, but you put in the cheapest goalkeeper. So here's Zenit. Maybe you decide, no, I don't want to do that. You put in the Malmo keeper, but put one of the cheapest keepers in. Build your entire lineup. And then if you have salary left over, you're on the last 2 spots and there's nobody that you like, what have you. All right, now play around with moving your keeper up. But get everybody else right. Keeper will just tilt the heck out of you. Last one to fill in. All right. I think I talked about enough about this game. Oh, PKs for Chelsea, if you want to be contrarian, should still be Jorginho. Kovacic had a great game over the weekend. And then your center backs are center backs. So whatever. All right. Malmo versus Juve. Note this Juve formation is very wrong. Bernardeschi did not make the trip. So that should likely be Dejan Kulusevski should be there. But I think that the 2 top plays from Juve side, who's Juve is minus 222 favorite. I should just say this and away to Malmo, which I'm already forgetting where Malmo is. I did this so much in Euros. So those that watch my videos know that I'm about to say the referee's nationality for where it's at. No, the referee's from Portugal. This is in, I wanted to say Sweden. Of course, it's not here. All right. Well, whatever. I don't know where Malmo is. Sorry, guys. I'm sure somebody comment and tell me. I'll have looked it up before you tell me, but regardless. So anyhow, I'm sure Malmo is going to be incredibly pumped for this game. It's not like we see Malmo in the Champions League, especially this new Champions League, right? Where it's really, really tied for the bigger teams. That's why we don't see so many of these kind of like minnow teams. Malmo, great job getting there. Tough game versus Juve, but Juve's been rough this year. Like, Udinese, they did not beat. I'm blanking on the other team. I don't really want to stop and go towards it, but 2 people in Serie A that they should have beat and they didn't, and then they just lost to Napoli too. So they're not off and running, but it's a big important competition. Allegri is a great Champions League coach. So, I expect them to have a good performance here, but Paulo Dybala and Juan Cuadrado should split set pieces. I think Dybala, just the nature of now no Ronaldo there, it's huge for his confidence because so much of the offense is about Dybala creating. He's been really good this year, DFS and, I'm assuming scoring and getting assists. So we could say that for real life too. But Juan Cuadrado, 8,700, I think is the toughest decision on this slate. Like we know Juan Cuadrado, in this international break, if you were playing the South American qualifiers, I think he had one game where he had 26 crosses, took a PK, was amazing on the Monopoly set pieces. He's done it for Juve. I think it was last year. He broke the slate versus Porto. I still remember the house I was showing when it happened. I think he got 40 something DK points. So Juan Cuadrado can absolutely go off. He just hasn't been crossing that much. Again, remember that was under Pirlo too. This is under I keep wanting to say Tuchel, Allegri. A little more pragmatic. He's not wanting Cuadrado to cross the ball 27 times and giving away possession. So think Quadrado's still in late play. Should be splitting these corners. So they like to do like outswingers and then Dybala doing those too. But yeah, I think in a lot of ways, Quadrado's just going to decide to slate. You just go by odds, right? He's the second biggest favorite in the slate. They should control possession. Malmo is probably not a very good team. I'm not going to pretend to know a ton about Malmo other than who's going to take their set pieces. But yeah, I think that'll decide a lot because you could do what I was just mentioning before, right? Take Alonso and James. And I should have mentioned, by the way, like Hudson-Odoi started last week, and that's because James was suspended. I don't see any reason that James shouldn't start. So if James doesn't start, that'd be a shocker. But even Hudson-Odoi for Chelsea, when he was in, he took set pieces. So it's whoever's been the wingbacks have been taking set pieces. But would you rather save 2,500 on one of those fullbacks? Because I think there's a really good chance that you're going to play 3 defenders in like an optimal sense, the way that just how deep the position is. So, do you play? I like Reece James though more than Marcus Alonso. So it's like, do you play Quadrado or do you hate Marcus Alonso? Marcus Alonso is almost 3,000 cheaper. That's my head says Alonso, but then my gut's like, do you really want to pay Quadrado 50% own? And he goes and just like shoves it in your face with like 25 crosses and you feel like an idiot. I don't know. We'll see. Murata, goal or bust. I think Kulusevski, I can't say it right. He's Swedish, 5,200, great player. Should be playing out on the right or the left wing. 5,200 midfield only eligible. I think it's a really solid play given the odds. But it really does depend on how much you like you like Juve. I think in cash you trust the odds, and in GPP you kind of trust your eyes and go, man, Juve's been a letdown. Maybe that's a good spot to kind of fade them and go other places. So that's where I'm at. For Malmo, I'm only going to play one guy, Martin Olsen, sub 3,000. Took Monopoly their set pieces over the weekend. Christensen is like their best player. I remember playing them in one of these other UCL games. He didn't play on the weekend. I can't find anything about him. I didn't dive too hard. But just know if you don't see Christensen, Martin Olsen, 2,900, Monopoly set pieces, Juve's not going to dominate so much of the ball that Malmo's not going to get any chances. So I think he'd be close to a plug and play. All right, Barcelona versus Bayern. This is like the best like game on the slate, 2 mammoth teams. But, if you look at Barcelona's lineup, they don't really look like a mammoth team anymore. Braithwaite's out, Griezmann's transferred. So now you got Dembele's out. So you got Luke de Jong and maybe Philippe Coutinho. Philippe Coutinho might not even be fit. So I don't even know who the right one would be. Fati isn't ready yet. But it's all Memphis when you talk about Barcelona. Let's just real quick with the odds. They're plus 260 at home. Bayern's minus 110. I think this game could be sneaky open if Bayern or Barcelona score early. This game could get like really open really fast because Bayern, plays high line. I guess it's a little different under Nagelsmann. I should take that back. They still kind of are a mess though. I don't know all of Nagelsmann's tactics just yet, but they haven't been defensively stout yet. I think that'll come. But, Memphis Depay, I'm going to start with Barcelona side. Just been awesome since getting to Barcelona. Like, he's doing his best Messi impersonation by just dominating the games. We know back in for the Dutch national teams, he's been dominating. For Lyon, he dominated. He's been dominating for everybody except for Manchester United. It's been like my funny. I don't think anybody laughs but me. But my little gig every time I see him do anything, I'm like, do you remember he's on United? Because he was just such a disaster there. And now, like, think of how many problems United had over the years would have been solved if Memphis Depay was there playing like this. It's kind of crazy to think about, but he's going to do almost everything for Barcelona. Now, he's expensive. He's just sub 10,000, but he's going to be over Monopoly set pieces. He's going to be over PKs, and he's going to be the center of everything they do. And again, if Bayern, you got a golden with case and Lewandowski scored in the 5th minute, freaking Barcelona is going to be pushing to high hell. And I think Depay could get like 20 floor. I'm not really scared of Bayern like dominating the game. So I think Memphis is a really good play. I don't see anybody else on Barcelona I want to play. If you want to go YOLO GPP, Luke de Jong goal, that's fine. But nobody else is great for DFS. Alba is probably the next best. Coutinho, if he's in, I doubt he's fit for 90, so I would avoid that. I don't think many people play Ter Stegen, who's top 5 goalkeeper in the world at the camp. So yeah, I think it works. For Bayern, as much as Quadrado is a huge decision on the slate, I think Joshua Kimmich is another huge decision on the slate. He sits deep, right? So it means a lot of his DFS goodness is on set pieces, but he's on Monopoly set pieces. So it's a phenomenal player. I think he's the best number 6 in the world. just true box to box. Yeah, I love the guy. Again, you have a really good chance that actually, based on this time, he will have a majority of monopoly set pieces. Sane may poach one or two. But again, the problem with anybody of like his makeup or how he plays, so box to box, like defensive responsibilities and not diving in to the scoring area. So, settling out of here is that a lot of the DFS-ness, and especially being central, we're not wide where we can cross the ball, and is going to be getting corner kicks and getting free kicks. So 7,500, I think he is just perfectly priced where I want to click it and then I pause and go, what else could I have instead? So that's kind of where I'm on Kimmich. I think Lewandowski for GPP is fine. I don't think I'm going to go there in cash. If I'm going to spend up, it's going to be for Lukaku, not Lewandowski. And then I think, what's going to happen in your second forwards is you look at Depay, Dybala, go down from there. I'm sure there's others. My eyes are on one of those two for my builds that you just don't have Lewandowski, which probably makes him a great GPP play. Musiala is good, but no real floor. Muller, same deal. He and Lewandowski is a natural, really good GPP stack. For years now, Miller just feeds Lewandowski. The two have a great relationship of, where the other one's going to be. So I think I like that. Then Sane is really cheap. He's been okay this season. Not great. Okay. Tons of talent. But I think it's like 6,200. So he works. Davies will be really popular. 4,400. I think is a really good price for probably one of the 2 or 3 best left backs in the world. But again, defender is so loaded, right? I went over Olsen, I went over Alonso, I went over James, I went over Cuadrado. Where are you putting Davies in there, right? I guess it's just a fit thing. Pavard, not really for me. Okay. Villarreal versus Atalanta. Atalanta, one of the most, for the longest time, I don't feel like it's been this year as much, but very, very, very good for DFS. Really like to push things. Villarreal, on the other hand, really good defensive club in Spain. Should be an interesting game. Villarreal, slight favorite, plus 140. This is yet another 2.5 over game. So all three have been pushing towards 3 goals. Let's start on the Villarreal side because I feel like they're easier. So if Danny Parejo is in, he takes some monopoly of set pieces. Now, he doesn't take a lot of them. Villarreal does not force a ton of set pieces, but he takes all of them. Gerard Moreno takes their corner kicks. If Parejo is not fit and not ready to go, let me see if they have it here. Doubtful. Well, that's Moreno's doubtful. Parejo. We'll just have to see their line. That's the great thing about this, right? All the lineups at once. But Alberto Moreno and Manu Trigueros have been splitting set pieces. They're both cheap. Moreno is a defender. We know those problems. Trigueros is 4,500 midfielder. I think he's very, very fine for like a puntish type of play. If you're down there, should get you 6 to 8. And then if he gets an assist, Yahtzee, you're off and running. Estupian, 3,600 fullback, loves to attack. Like him a lot too. And then Gerard Moreno, he's by far their best player, one of the top scorers in La Liga. Just really, really smart forward. He will not be owned, so I really like him for GBP, especially considering Atalanta gives up a ton of goals and chances. Dia was a great signing in the offseason. He looked really, really good for them if you read a little bit like the local Villarreal things. So I really like him for GPP as like just a 0 own play. All right, from Atalanta. If Joseph Ilicic is in, he and Malinowski should split. We've also seen, depending on the right back, if that's Zappacosta, he's also taken. So their sets would be really weird. Where I think it would go is that Ilicic, if N, is always taking some. Malinowski, if N, is always taking them. If you see neither of them, then it's probably Zappacosta. So that's how I would rate their sets. Atalanta, like any of Mahal has been awesome for them. He's also taking some corners too, but we know Zappacosta after last week is in line over Mal. But all these wide and attacking players are in play. I don't know if I really am gravitated towards any of them. I feel like I like other players over all of them. But Ilicic, we've seen just put up massive scores in Serie A, over 50. Malinowski, same type of deal. Zapata, you could just go, all right, he has 2 great creators for him. Zapata for the goals. All of it. Or because sometimes their floors aren't that great. They score a lot of goals, but sometimes it's not through crossing. It's a lot of shots and things. You could just go F it and don't play any of them. Right now in cash, that's where I am. I think for GPP, though, they're all elite plays. I think that covers it. All right. Lille versus Wolfsburg. Lille, huge struggle in Ligue 1 so far. A lot of talent, but really struggled. They are pretty square, plus 170, plus 163. So square game. Wolfsburg, any team from the Bundesliga, in a lot of ways, I think you can always feel decent that there are going to be some goals, not only for them, but against. So yet again, we see another over right here. It's about even. So about like 2.75 total. For Lille, I think of Yaziki. I don't know how to say it. Youssef. I feel better saying that. Should be a majority of set pieces. We saw in Europa League last year, put up like a 40 spot against a good team. We've seen him be pretty good for Turkey, be very good for Lille. Lille, it's just been really interesting though. He's in the lineup, he's out of the lineup, he's in the lineup, he's out of the lineup. I don't know what happened to Jonathan Bamba. I guess he's out. That's the first time I've actually seen somewhere where he's out. I've researched it before for So Rare, funny enough. I'm like, I can't figure out what's going on. Can't figure out where he's at. But Bamba and Sanchez were both taking. So this should give a path to Yaziki getting a monopoly set pieces. He's 6,000, super talented. I kind of like it at home. Lille really needs a win here. They just had such a tough start. So I think Yaziki makes a lot of sense. Jonathan David is the Canadian young superstar. He and Alphonso Davies has the Canadians super excited in qualifying. But yeah, I think both of them are in play. Yilmaz is the old veteran, should be over penalty kicks, good scorer. Everybody else is kind of not great for DFS. Akone is pretty cheap. He is a guy that you think should do good, but just doesn't until I say that, and now he scores. But there's not much floor there, so it's like goal, assist, or bust. The fullbacks are fine, but again, like I don't think I'm going to mention any more fullbacks because I think I've already given away my love. The Chelsea guys for Quadrado, for Olsen, or if you don't go any of them, then Alphonso Davies just being where he's at. They're all just such good plays. Or like Alberto Moreno in the last game, maybe on set piece. It's just crazy. Defenders are just crazy how good they are. So I'm not going to waste my defender spots or my utility spot on somebody that's just meh. It's not going to happen. All right, for Wolfsburg, Max Arnold always was like the go-to when you saw Wolfsburg. He would be that boring number 6 that you wouldn't expect to do anything. You look down and he has like 15 or 20 DK and you're just like, how? It's not the same this year. He's given away a lot of his set pieces to Maximilian Philipp, who's playing this number 10 role. And Arnold's scores just haven't been as good in Bundesliga. So I think I'm off of him. Philipp, I guess, is okay. To me, if I'm going anywhere on Wolfsburg, I'm just taking Wout Weghorst and running and just praying for a goal. So I think that's a GPP only move. So to me, just Wolfsburg is kind of a cross off. This game as a whole is pretty easy. It's like Weghorst, Yaziki, or move on. Let's move on. Final game. I'm trying to get this done back by 9:40. I don't know how long that is in the timer, but it's 9:35, so I'm feeling pretty good. Got Benfica going to Kiev. Now, I did look up Kiev, Ukraine. It's freaking crazy there. So that Ukraine has like, I could be wrong. Sorry, Ukrainian people watching this. I don't know if there's any, but I feel like Ukraine's where I've just seen some like crazy things in the stands. Not so much like throwing like CONCACAF, but like fires and stuff. So yeah, Ukrainians love their football. So I think it's going to be a tough place for Benfica, which is kind of sucks because Benfica has a lot of like really fun DFS players. If you look at them in the Portuguese league, they crush. So let's start with Benfica and I'll start talking about those people that crush. Now their sets are a mess for the longest time, probably as long as I can remember DFS soccer. Pizzi has been the Benfica guy you go to. And then sometimes you mix in Grimaldo. Pizzi would take a majority of set pieces. Grimaldo would be the super attacking left wing back that also takes some sets sometimes. They're both awesome plays. I just don't know like who's going to have them because you also then look through their logs and you see João Mario has taken some set pieces with Pizzi and Grimaldo on. And then Everton, not the team that did great today. Shout out to them and Rafa Benitez. As a Liverpool person, I have to say, we loaned you Rafa to finally make you half good Everton fan. So you're welcome. But Everton, a good Brazilian player. He also takes set pieces as well. So you've got set pieces. You've got Pizzi's taken, you got Grimaldo's taken, you got Mario's taken, Everton's taken. You go, where are they going to go? So maybe you just look at Benfica as like a GPP slate, or you go, I don't know all those things, but I know Roman Yaremchuk is a very, very highly sought after striker. He's huge, and Kiev can be a little bit loose in the back if you look through. Now, this is one of the few games that has an under 2.5 total, though. So maybe going like the striker might not be it. But so many times I'm like, when I don't know who I want on a team and it seems too confusing, that's just where sometimes you go, all right, if I really want a piece of this, maybe I just go to the striker and run. Darwin Nunez, another young stud. So a lot of great players on Benfica. I could make cases for all of them in cash, or I can make cases for none of them. And in my head right now, my case is in a cash optimal sense, probably none. Gun to my head, pissy. But even he's like struggling for time. So I just think I'm gonna avoid. Kiev set should be Victor Tsenegov, really nice young player. I believe he's Ukraine. Yes, I believe so. Good player, takes more of set pieces. I know he takes their PKs. Carlos De Pena, though, also I've seen do both. So I think it's a split. I don't know, it's tough. You don't have Opta data for Kiev, so you get some occasional games here that have scoring, but other ones that you just have to guess, and you just have to like go through translated articles and type in corner and just hope you find something. Tsenegov is like 6,100. He'd be my favorite play from them, but I think I feel safer with like Ziki at 6,000. But maybe if you want to be a little different, Tsenegov should be an interesting game. That can have more higher goal expectations. So fullbacks, no. Any one of these attackers for GPP, sure, but I don't know if this is like the slate with all the awesome teams and some bigger favorites that you're really risking stuff. All right, that'll do it. That's 6 games. That's 12 teams. I hope I gave you a pretty good idea of some top targets. I think for me, I'm going to be building around Lukaku. I know it's not like my favorite type of player, but I feel pretty good that Chelsea may score 2 to 3 goals here, and he will be a part of it. I'm going to be on one of the Chelsea wingbacks, so either Marcus Alonso or Reece James. Then finally, at my second forward spot, I'll say either Paulo Dybala or Memphis Depay will be my place there. So good luck, everybody. Thank you again for watching. Once again, reminder, like, subscribe, comment. Also, just shout out to one of our partners, Prize Picks. Been doing an awesome job on the soccer board. I will have on my personal Twitter, so if you look up which way, that way, at GatorGuy231, probably 1, 2-ish. Before we get too much into DFS building, I'll have a Prize Pick play up there. Hopefully get back on the winning track there. I had some good luck over the weekend on different ones. So yeah, UCL should be fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, like, subscribe, comment, all really helps. Thank you, and see you.